Hi, I'm Doran Stember. I'm a board-certified urologist. I'm the founder of Fountain. Fountain is a telemedicine company that specializes in treating hormone deficiency. And today, I was asked to come here by our marketing team. I'm not really sure what we're doing here today, to be honest, but I'm trying to go along with it.
I take testosterone replacement, so I'm not demonizing it. I don't think it's bad. I think it's wise. If you want your body to perform well, I think you should get regular blood work. You should do it from a very good doctor that understands hormone replacement therapy. You should be very smart about it. You shouldn't take too much of it. But if you want your body to perform well, it wards off diseases better. It keeps your immune system healthier. The more muscle you have and the stronger your body is, the healthier your body is. I mean, to a point, and to get to this bodybuilding range where you just look obscene.
I agree with everything you said. It should be through a specialist who does this in the usual course of their practice. You want to make sure things are safe, but you also want to make sure you're optimized, you're at the right treatment dose. Maybe the specific treatment to improve your testosterone that you started with is not the right one for you, but the only way you would know that is if you're engaging with a professional who's experienced. Just because the first thing you try doesn't work doesn't mean something else is not going to work. And it's a partnership, and you both have the same goal, which is for the guy to feel great, improve their health, and be safe.
What does it feel like to work out on testosterone replacement therapy? Well, before I was prescribed TRT, I had a total testosterone of 219, and I felt like I could never get a full pump in the gym. I always felt like I was weaker in the gym. I didn't feel big, I didn't feel pumped up, and just something did not feel right. So finally got my testosterone tested, came back at 219. I was prescribed TRT. My levels now are at 950, and when I go to the gym, every single set feels like I'm getting a bigger and bigger pump. I can't explain it. When you get back to your car after the gym, you just feel veined up, pumped up, ready to rock, and it feels amazing.
Not just about how you feel working out. I mean, that's not uncommon what he said, but I think to me it's more like, are you motivated to even get to the gym in the first place? If you're not motivated to the gym, are you motivated to walk a mile around your house? Wherever you're starting, it tends to make you want to do things. And specifically, you kind of want to do work. And I don't mean work like a job, just the work of daily life, daily activities. It's kind of a subtle point, but that's a pretty consistent improvement in most guys' life.
What is a realistic physique change on just testosterone replacement therapy? Within a 6-month period, I was able to lose 70 pounds of body fat and put on 10 pounds of lean, solid muscle. Now, how does TRT help you do that? Number one, your protein synthesis is a lot higher. Every gram of protein that you eat is going straight to muscle building. Your capabilities are going to be a lot higher in that realm. Now, number two is your metabolism is going to be a lot higher. Therefore, you're going to be able to burn fat a lot easier. And number three, your recovery is going to be substantially better. When your hormones are optimized and your body's firing on all cylinders, you heal a lot better. After your workouts, you're not going to be as sore. The next day you can get back in the gym and hit it again.
People often have an expectation of losing weight. Sometimes they lose weight, but I tell patients this is not a weight loss medication and you shouldn't think of it that way. It does improve body composition. You know, people on testosterone therapy tend to have more muscle and less fat over time, but square inch per square inch, muscle's a lot heavier than fat. They often don't lose weight. They may even gain a little bit of weight, but it's not about losing weight. It's about improving your body composition, which really means improving your health.
Can you have kids while on testosterone replacement therapy? I've been on TRT for over 3 years and I still have my fertility. I work with an awesome clinic and they prescribe me a medication called N-clomiphene, which helps me maintain my fertility and my ball size while on TRT. When I first started on TRT, one of my main concerns was that I wanted to have kids in the future. I didn't want to ruin my chances of being able to have a kid just because I was on TRT. But thankfully, if you work with the right clinic, they're going to make sure that you maintain your fertility while on treatment.
It's possible to have kids on TRT, but you should not expect to have sperm production if you're on testosterone alone. Let's say you start testosterone therapy alone, nothing else. Interestingly, your testosterone levels go up everywhere in your body you test it, except for one place, which is inside your testicles. It's the only place it goes down in your body when you're on treatment. This is not a permanent change. If you stop treatment, your body will sense now that your T levels are too low, unlike before. Your body will recognize it needs to kick the production back into gear of your own testosterone, but it does take about 2 to 6 months for a full amount of sperm to come back. So you have to build in that lead time. If you take another medication specifically called HCG, that can help you maintain your sperm production, but you have to start the HCG ideally before, a little bit before, or at the same time as testosterone. If you start after testosterone, you need really high doses of HCG to bring back your sperm, and HCG can be expensive, and it's a lot of injections. That's often a good choice for guys who have specific plans for fertility.
I think high testosterone is all genetic. This is what every soy boy says. Listen, bro, you're not gonna be high testosterone eating oats every day, drinking protein shakes, and being inconsistent with your sleep and training. Our ancestors did none of that. If you want to level up your testosterone and stop blaming your genetics, you need to be optimized and consistent in every single aspect if you want to thrive every single day. If you wake up in the morning with low energy, it's your testosterone. If you can't have mental clarity throughout the day, it's your testosterone. Until you get your testosterone to peak performance above 1,000, you're never going to be able to unlock the version that you want to unlock.
He got some things right and some things wrong. Any comparison to ancestors is irrelevant. Ancestors probably died around age 20 if they made it to that age. So, they didn't really get to the low T phase. High testosterone equals genetics. There may be a little bit of a genetic component, but for the vast majority of men, it's a predictable cycle. You start going through puberty, there's a surge of testosterone, and then you start getting to around age 30 and levels are going to start declining. It drops 1% to 2% a year.
Is what he said true about gotta have testosterone over 1,000?
No, I don't agree with that. 1,000 is a reference to total testosterone. That's the common one people think about. It's actually much less important than free testosterone. Free testosterone means testosterone that is not attached to protein, so it's literally free, and it's available to plug into testosterone receptors. The metrics are not the end goal. The end goal is how you feel, and all this needs to be done with a specialist.
Giving patients testosterone.
Underdosing. So one of the first things doctors do is they go, you're at 400. We're going to shoot for 800 nanograms per deciliter of total T. That's what we're shooting for. We're going to give you what we would consider the difference. Well, your body is working on like a thermostat, and it will just simply go, great. Now I have to do even less work. And so initially you might get a bump, and then your pituitary realizes, okay, no need to send as much luteinizing hormone to the testicles, and you drop back down to 400 again.
So the only question that matters is, does the guy have clinically relevant testosterone deficiency with symptoms? And if he does, you don't need to consider what that T level is anymore. If you and he agree that he wants to start treatment, it's the right thing for him. Then you get labs 6 to 8 weeks later after starting, and then you can adjust up or down or keep it the same, make other changes based on that guy's individual situation on treatment. It doesn't matter what their T levels are as long as you diagnose clinically relevant testosterone deficiency.
You drop back down to 400 again, or sometimes even less.
I think the first time I tested, I was like, I want to say 412 was my number. They gave me 150 milligrams of testosterone. On day 7, when we would retest, I actually fell down to 398, 406. Then they moved me to like 160, then 170. I think when they finally got me to 180, which was right before I met you, I was still coming around 440 or something. Initially, it was crashing me lower than when I even started.
I actually see what the problem is here. He's not injecting with enough frequency. I bet in the first few days after he injected, he had really good levels. Historically, it was done 200 milligrams once every 2 weeks, and that is, for most people, too high a dose all at once. Your T levels go up too high. So then the trend became inject 100 milligrams once a week. You're still getting the same 200 milligram total over the 2 weeks, but by breaking it up into 2 1-week injections, peaks are not as high and the troughs are not as low, so you're much more stable, which is better. We recommend to our patients to pick 2 days a week and stick to them, and it's a much better outcome. So I don't think he necessarily was on the wrong dose. I think he probably was on the wrong frequency of injection.
Hold on. So your testosterone replacement therapy is TRT.
Yeah.
And I have always heard it, so that's why it's blowing my mind a little bit, right? Isn't it considered bad?
Only by idiots.
Why is it so popular then? You shouldn't do TRT.
There's millions of people doing testosterone replacement. I've lectured at the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine in front of like thousands of doctors. They're all doing testosterone replacement therapy. The reason is because humans are low on testosterone right now anyway. If you are 20 years old right now, you have the testosterone levels that your grandfather would have had 30 years ago. So we've poisoned you. It's in your food, it's in the Axe body spray, it's in the scented candles, it's in the glyphosate, and many, many other endocrine disruptors that are in our environment. So we have a bunch of people walking around with low testosterone.
He's right about the fact that if you look at 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds from decades past, their T levels matched for the same age are higher than men now, and that's been a definite trend. That's interesting. So why would that happen? That's not age related, because these guys are the same age, just at different time periods, and that's probably due to environmental factors. It may also be due to just lifestyle changes. People are more sedentary, things come easier to them. So there's a lot of factors there. But who cares about what the generations past had? The only thing that matters is how each individual guy feels about himself, about his life, about everything he's doing, his family, his work. And so we just focus on one person at a time. Prepare a plan for each of them that is tailored to what their specific situation is and what their goals are.
Are you on testosterone and experiencing acne? Let me explain to you how we treat that. DHT is a downstream hormone from testosterone in the body. That means when we increase testosterone, we're going to increase everything downstream. DHT irritates the sebaceous glands in the skin, therefore increasing the sebaceous fluid in the skin, and that is the environment which the bacteria lives that causes acne, the deep-rooted, painful acne, not just surface acne.
Hormone levels changing is associated with acne. Yeah, it's not extremely common, but we definitely see that. It's not about the total T level, it's about the change in your testosterone. When you go from a low pre-treatment level to a higher level on treatment, something about that change tends to induce acne. It tends to be less and less over time. So it can recur, there can be occasional breakouts.
Now, we're not big on antibiotics here, but this is an exception. The first route of treatment that we do is a couple 100 milligrams of something like doxycycline. Something similar to that will work as well. A fairly simple broad spectrum antibiotic for a month. That's going to go and clean out that bacteria from that sebaceous fluid.
What causes acne is bacteria at the level of the skin. I don't think oral antibiotics is the right way to start. I think topical treatment works for almost everybody. It's easier. For most guys, that's all they need. And then just time passing, and eventually it becomes less and less of an issue. So
at what age should you start TRT?
I would say at whatever age that you need it.
It's funny because you don't look at someone who's like 21 and go, oh my gosh, you're way too young to be on diabetes drugs. Or you're way too young to be on blood pressure meds. I'm sorry, you have a headache. You're too young to be having headaches though, so it can't be that, and we're not going to treat you.
He makes some good points here. Testosterone replacement therapy is, for whatever reason, in the larger medical community, treated differently than low thyroid levels or correcting diabetes, which is related to hormones. I think it's because in medicine we think about healing people, saving people. That's what you think about healing, right? And what's different about testosterone therapy is, yes, you start out with deficiencies, problems, symptoms, and then you can get it back to not having those problems. But something else happens, which is you actually get better. It's not just a lack of having a problem, it's like actually improving and feeling better. That just puts it in a different category than the vast majority of medication and treatments. I think there's some discomfort in the medical community with doing something to make people feel good as opposed to healing them. The community of people and patients are ahead of the medical community in large part on this, because it's obvious to them. They're not used to traditional medical thinking and medical training. They just think, I felt bad. Now, not only do I not feel bad, I feel good, or maybe I feel great. I see it as sort of a strange blind spot in medicine. People feel like it's transformative for them. It's always been so appealing to me. I'm not really naturally an on-camera person, but I want to do this because in a way it is talking to patients or potential patients. Hopefully I can reach some people who are experiencing some symptoms. They don't really know what to do or where to go, and will hear me say something and they recognize something in themselves and they didn't realize they had a problem that may be due to a hormone problem.